So, ladies and gentlemen, you want to start off? So, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, thank you. So, we want to start off. Definitely have some preliminaries we need to do before we start off officially. And you want someone to lead us with a word of prayer, a volunteer. A volunteer?
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Penina.
Yes, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Can we start with a word of prayer?
Please, thank you.
Dear Lord, we are before you this morning. We want to thank you, Lord, for the gift of life that we are enjoying at such a time like this. Thank you for this session, O Jehovah, Lord, of our closing ceremony. We want to speak a blessing upon our facilitators and all those who are going to attend today, O God. We worship you, we honor you. Bless us now as we begin. In Jesus' name I pray and believe.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Penina. So the next step is where we are going to look at the norms of an online meeting. Those are the rules of engagement. So can you give me a few? Number one.
Nancy.
Yes.
We need to be in a silent environment.
Thank you. So let us remain muted unless we are being told to talk. Like now there's someone who was cooking and we had all the conversation. Thank you. One, we remain muted until we are told to unmute and talk. Asante ingine.
You should only unmute when you are presenting or talking.
Thank you, Henry. Unmute when we have been told or requested to talk. Ingine. Yes, I can see someone's hand up. Yes, Nyakeri.
Time management.
Let's manage time well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another one. I can take two more. Two more. Do we still need to respect each other's opinion? Definitely we need to do that. Today we are going to put even in breakaway rooms. So when you go to those rooms, we expect you to have an active discussion. All of us must participate and we make sure we respect each other as we hold those discussions. Now we are two of us. My name is Joyce Kiroma. I know I was with you in Nakuru. And I also have my colleague, Mr. Karemi, can also say hi to you. Karemi?
Good morning.
Good morning too.
I'm happy that we are back again, all of us. And I hope you are going to have an interactive session. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, team. My name is Ris Pamumbe. We were with you in Nakuru and so well to see all of you today. Let's learn and have fun. Karibuni sana.
Asante sana. Now we want to go.
Good morning, team. My name is Nicholas Kambao. I'll be with you around. I'll be guiding you on some of the technicalities when we are doing breakout rooms, slider, and any other technicality you might find there challenging. I'll try to sort it out together with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least.
Good morning. My name is I'm an ICT personnel, so I will be together with you throughout the entire session. And we are here to help you in case you face any technical issues. Karibuni.
Okay, thank you so much. Those are the members we have here. And now we want to go straight to our course. our schedule. Our training program. Just give me 1 minute. I'm muted, guys. So we have already done the first session that is on the preliminaries and climate setting. So the second session, you start with the review of Unit 4 from 9:30 to 11. What was the title of Unit 4? May I have a few people telling us what it was?
Nancy?
Yes, Nancy.
It was about
Effective management.
Effective management. Yes, so we have Mr. Yes, we'll have Mr. Karimi taking you through that review of Unit 4. And I know you're going to put you in breakaway rooms where we expect you to have a discussion of exactly what you did in your schools as far as that unit is concerned. After that, we'll expect to go for a health break and come back at 11:30 to 1. Then we review Unit 5. Unit 5 ilikuwa ya nini? Just scroll down. Unit 5. Unit 5. Someone? Aya, Unit 5. Unit 5. Tulisoma nini? Mama, they have put it in the chat. Are we all there? Ali Zobiero. The title of Unit 5?
Madam, Nancy speaking.
Yes, Nancy.
It was about psychosocial support for learners.
For learners.
Yes,
Umeisoma, have you gone through it?
Yes, I have.
You have been able to do something as far as that unit is concerned?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll take you to the breakaway rooms and you'll be able to have some discussion on what you did as far as that unit is concerned. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll meet after. We are supposed to be finishing these 2 units at 1. Then we break and come back tomorrow. We'll let you know what you do tomorrow. But for now, let us just concentrate on the 2 units. That is review of Unit 4, which will be taken through by Mr. Karimi. And then I'll come in at 11:30 to 1 to take you through the review of Unit 5. Asanteni sana. Mr. Karimi, karibu.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and welcome to a session on effective. Sorry. So welcome back to our session, whereby we are going to, I hope everybody can see my screen. Just want a confirmation from you. Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are going to begin with the part of resource management. And this is what we covered under Unit 4. And in course of this unit, we are going to cover the following. One, you'll have an introduction session. This is the outline of the unit. Then you'll have the first activity on accounting documents and records. You'll have another activity that we are going to go to. The first activity, we are going to use the Slido. The other one, we are going to go to a breakout rooms whereby we shall have a group discussion. We shall have come for a plenary and extended running activity that you'll do. You're supposed to have done, or you'll continue finishing after this. And you are going to stick to the timeline on those activities. But as Madam Joyce was welcoming you, started by asking you about the unit that you covered. And this is the unit that we covered, effective resource management. And I would like to hear from you, what did we cover? What does it entail? Somebody to respond. When we talk about effective management, what did we cover? What does effective management entails, even in our school environment, and career? Before we go to our first activity, I wanted to refresh on what we covered last time. Or just go on.
Mr. Karemi?
Yes?
We were dealing with the resources that we get in our schools.
Resources that we get in our school?
Either from the ministry, that is FP funding.
Mm-hmm.
We also have management of staff, both teaching and non-teaching, and the learners. It was all out. Yes, please.
It was all out. But yeah, thank you. It's Madam Nancy.
It's Nancy Nakuru.
Thank you very much. You have talked about effective resource management, what we discussed.
Yes.
And you have talked about the finances, about the human resource, and what we get from the government in terms of funding, which is true.
Yes.
Now, somebody else, what else did we cover under effective resource management? Or in your school environment, what does effective resource management entail? Leonard, your mic is on. That is why I'm speaking to you.
Okay. We discussed about work plan.
Work plan?
Strategic plans. Yes.
Because I want to find out whether you have been learning when you are on, and when you keep quiet. It means the last time you looked at this notice when we were in Nakuru, you have been leading all through. That is what I want to find out. And you have talked about what you are talking about is what we are calling planning, and that was the first aspect we covered, the effective resource management. We dealt with the planning, whereby we dealt with the plan we are supposed to have in school and how they are linked to the budget. Where we talk about strategic plan, we talked about annual plan, and we talked about school improvement plan. Can you remember the three plan?
Yeah, I remember.
Yes, and how they are linked to the budget, because the budget should always come from what you want to achieve, what is entailed in the plan. Thank you very much. So we covered the planning. What else? Somebody else. Thank you, Korir.
Thank you.
What else? Jacinta.
Okay, apart
from the plan.
The plan is effective allocation of the resources that we get. so that they are in alignment with the school's goals and priorities to ensure optimum utilization and also to improve the educational outcomes.
Now, thank you, Jacinta, for telling us why we should have effective resource management. That is utilization of resources efficiently.
Yes.
In order to achieve the result, that is effectiveness.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Jacinta. That is what we started with as an introduction of this unit. I want to go further and ask, what else do we cover under effective resource management, and how do we go about it in our school? We are more than 40 of us. Nancy, you talked earlier.
I thought I should add something, Mr. Karemi.
Before you add something, let me request Samuel to talk. His hand is up. Welcome to you, Nancy. Samuel, unmute.
Okay.
Samuel or Caroline? Caroline, your mic is on. Caroline, are you in a position to talk? Anybody else who want to tell us? Because we have just talked about planning, and we allowed 5 areas in effective resource management. Samuel, go on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Apart from planning, what else did we discuss?
Hello.
Hello, Jonah, go on.
We discussed about legal and policy guidelines that guide financial management in our schools.
And we mentioned which legal framework?
We mentioned about the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act of 2015.
Public Procurement. Mm-hmm.
Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Have the Kenyan Constitution 2010.
Constitution. Mm-hmm.
2010. Public Finance Management.
FM Act of
2012.
Of which year? 2012?
2012.
Uh-huh.
We have the Public Audit Act.
Public Audit Act?
Among others.
Yes, you have talked about Public Procurement, Asset Disposal, Constitution, FM, Financial Management Act, Public Audit, and you also talked about
the Basic Education
Act.
Yeah.
Basic Education of 2013.
Yeah.
You cannot talk about effective resource management without mentioning Basic Education Act. Thank you, Jonah. And again, now you have talked about the legal framework that we touched about. Who else have got an addition of what we discussed? There's still 3 things we discussed that have not yet come out. Who would like to mention the remaining 3? Nancy.
Sir, I wanted to add this, that in this scenario where one is a leader in an institution, one also needs to be innovative. For example, you could be in a school where there is a piece of land. You can plant food, and when it is harvested, it will help the runners and actually help the school also to save some amount of money that can be used to do something else.
Can you remember the title we gave to that aspect? We called it what? IGA. What does that mean?
Income generating activities.
Good. We discussed that under income generating activities. Thank you very much for giving us an example. Yes, the other area, because I can see we are so many of us, and I'm wondering whether we have been leading, because we are not. I wanted to hear something with public procurement. We talked about public procurement, and also we mentioned something to do with stocks management. And at the end, we talked about risks. And if you read your note in the RMS, those are the areas that we supposed to discuss under effective resource management. I just wanted us to jog our mind so that before we enter into activity, we have an idea of what we are expecting. So we talked about planning, where we discussed about various type of plan, school strategic plan, annual plan, school improvement plan. We talked about the financial literacy, whereby we talked about budgeting. We talked about we also talked about the type of budget, the budgeting approaches. We talked about them. We talked about the accounting document. We talked about reporting. You can remember you are taken through that session by Madam Perez. We talked about the new reporting standard, the IPSAS. All of them you are taken through. Public procurement, we talked about the cycle on procurement. Hoping you can still remember the cycle. That one usually you do that in school. And that is why we are saying is something that we have been doing. And finally, we talked about risk. And now I want us to go to after that. So those are the areas that I was expecting you to have mentioned, areas covered. Hoping I have explained about them. Now, I want us to go to our first activity, whereby we are going to jog our mind on accounting document and record. And the question is, identify the accounting document and record used by school leaders in their day-to-day operations. You are going to answer that question in the Slido. I hope it is in you are going to access your Slido. It says in the WhatsApp group. No, check the link to Slido on the Zoom chat. Go to check your chat. Already you click the link. It is already there. You click the link and then you answer that question. So you'll be juggling between the Zoom and other interface in your phone. An activity is there. Identify the accounting document and record used by school readers in their day-to-day operation. You type and you said your response. You can type as many as you can remember. Not as you can remember, as many as you use in your school. All these documents are supposed to be maintained in your school. Now I can see you have started sending your responses. The question is identify the document, accounting document used by school leader. That is the accounting document that you use as a school leader in your day-to-day operation, not what your neighbor is using, your neighboring school is using, but what you use. So what you are, I can see Henry Olo, General Reja, budget reports, bank statement, expense reports, and payroll. I wish you could be specific. Like Leonard Koribi talking of receipt book. That one is a specific. Payment voucher, that is one is specific. Bank statement, that is specific. Stops at number 4. Remember, there are more than 7. Joy Fresh Riot, payment voucher, cash book, receipt, Reja, Asman, cash book, trial balance, invoice, voucher. So if you look at all these statements, you can be able now to tease out the document that you use in school. I can see Lolaine have payment voucher, checkbook, balance sheet, trial, local purchase order, that is LPO. I don't know whether you have LSO. Then there is the receipt books, invoice, delivery notes, Nance Wanini payment, voucher receipts, invoice, quotation, LPOs, acknowledgement letters, ledger books, and minutes. I want more because we are more than 40 and it is only less than 10 of you who have responded to this question. So I hope all of us were in class because we are less than 11 and we are more than 40, but the response are less than. Kindly keep the response coming. Alori is talking about cash book, trial balance, payment, voucher, and receipts. And I told you there are more than 7. And we agreed during your self-paced learning, this is what you are supposed to have been learning. And in particular, I want what you are doing in school in practice. What document are you using in school? Nancy Wanini have added more document. I can see payment vouchers, receipt, invoice, quotation, LPO. And I'm asking, is there LSO in your school, local service order? Or it is just LPO alone? So kindly let us, all of us, try and respond to this question because I don't want a situation whereby you log in and then you leave the class. So more, and if you look at what have been presented, is there anything else you would require to add from what your colleagues are talking about? I can see Samuel is saying the accounting document used in school include the cash book, receipt, bank statement, LPU, delivery notes, and minute books. Anything else you can add? Now, I would like somebody to give me a summary of the accounting documents that we are supposed to. We have so many of them. Somebody to tell us, give us a summary of the accounting document you expect in your school. Who would like to volunteer to give us a summary from all what have been mentioned in the slide? What are these accounting documents? Who would like us to give us a summary? You can raise up your hand or unmute. You have an issue with your internet. We are not getting you well. Thank you but you have given us three statements. I have gotten the budget report, income and expenditure statement, and receipt. But you're having problem. Leonard, you can add more. Yes?
I did not want to add more. You had said the summary of it.
Yes, I want a summary from all what have been written. Give us a summary of what we expect.
Yeah, these are documents that are helping the school leader to account for the resources received or the resources within the school, and the prudence use of school resources. So those documents can help to account.
Yes, and I wanted you now to give me the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to number 8. Which are they? You have talked the help in accounting and the prudent utilization. Which are they?
Oh, we have the payment forgers, the receipt books, the bank statements, cash books, and others.
There are the others. No, all of them are there in the Slido. That's why I told you to read from the Slido. You give me a summary. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, you have stated all those documents there in the Slido, but some of them they are accounting documents. Some of them are not. Now I want us now to look at what we are expecting when we talk about the accounting document. And thank you, Leonard, because you have told us they help us to account for resources, and also they help us to utilize the resources prudently. Remember, they are very important because during auditing, you'll be able to produce those records because they help the auditor to scrutinize how we have used the resources. And all those documents we have talked about, we are talking about the ledger, we have talked about the receipt books, we have talked about the bank statement, you have talked about the trial balance.
Yep.
You have also talked about what? The cash book, which is very important. And when you talk about ledgers, ledgers, there are many.
Yeah.
But nobody mentioned journals. Somebody talked about the trial balance. Even a fees, even a fees register is also an accounting document. But when you look at some of these documents, the LPO, those are some of the documents that are used during the procurement. But when you talk about the accounting document, those are the documents that are used to account for the money that come to school, and they record the revenue and they record the expenditure. And if you look at your note, all those documents are there in your note. So I'm happy that you can still remember, but I'm worried if you can only remember 3, it means in your school you have only 3. You have only a cash book, you have a payment voucher, you have a bank statement, you have an invoice, you have a delivery note. There is no journal, there is no ledger, and I know they are there. But I know if they are being handled by somebody else, you need to familiarize yourself with the accounting documents that are in school. That is not the role of the BASA or accounting officer. Even you are chief the accounting officer in your school, you need to be familiar with all those records. If it's a trial balance, you need to understand, why do we use a trial balance in school? Why do you need a bank statement? Because which is supposed to be done that is supposed to be generated every month. Because you want to see whether what is in the bank and what is in the cash book is carrying. Because a bank statement and the cash book will help you to know whether there is inconsistency in terms of the revenue and expenditure. If you are not fond of asking for the bank statement monthly for your school, then you might find that some of your money have disappeared from your account and you'll not be able to trace it. And that is why we talk of you need to keep on how the money are being, how the revenue is being generated and how money is being spent. That is the importance of accounting record, and also important. This record will be asked to produce by the auditor during the audit. So thank you very much for that information on accounting document. So I want us to proceed having tackled that. We are going to the other area that we talked about, and that is why I started by asking you the areas that we handled during this area is on public procurement and risk management. I talked about public procurement and store management, and I also talked about risk management. So this activity that we are going to go to breakout room, we are going to discuss 4 areas And after discussing these 4 areas, you will have covered almost the whole of procurement that you undertake in your school in summary. And then we are going to ask ourselves, what are some of the risks when we are undertaking projects in our school? And I can remember we discussed about how we are supposed to undertake the risk, from risk identification, risk assessment, how we control how we treat the risk. I don't know whether we discussed that. We need to know the whole spectrum of risk management in your institution, because you cannot deal with resources minus the risk. Risk is always there. When you are doing a budget, there is a risk of learners not paying the school fee. The question you should be asking yourself, how are you going to mitigate the risk of non-payment of school fees? What will be the risk of late payment or late disbursement of capitation? I want you to think from that perspective as you go to the school. Identify possible risk, because when it comes to risk, I want you to map out all the risks in your school environment. So in this activity, we are going to have 4 breakout rooms, and I want to explain how it will happen. This is the question. To implement the NESET 2023-2027 and tackle disparity in access and learning outcome, the Ministry of Education is building a classroom at the integrated learning resource in junior school. That is something we are expecting to happen, because it will either it has not happened, but it will happen. I believe the breakout room 1, if you find yourself in breakout room 1, you will do question number 1. You will identify the various activity to be undertaken by the school leader in preparation of the above project. I repeat, if you find yourself in breakout room 1, you are going to do question number 1. If you find yourself in breakout room 2, you are going to do question number 2, and you are going to describe the procurement procedure that a school leader shall explore in undertaking the project. In other words, I want to see the procurement cycle from the beginning to the end, and kindly light those procedures the way they follow each other. Don't start with the last one. You start with the first one, then you end with the last one, so that we can be able to understand how you undertake the procurement in your school. Those are, if you find yourself in breakout room 2. Breakout room 3, you are going to handle question number 3. Identify the possible unethical practices that are likely to occur while undertaking the project. What are some of the unethical? And then, when we're talking of unethical, remember the topic, the title is procurement and risk. We are talking of unethical practices during procurement of that project. What are the likely unethical practices to occur during that procurement of that project? And what are the likelihood, what are the risks that you are likely to encounter when you are undertaking that project? That is breakout room number 3, you do question number 3 on unethical. And breakout room number 4, you do question number 4 on risk. I hope you have understood my instruction. Now, welcome back to the plenary. We are now...
thank you, Mr. Karimi.
And I'm happy that I joined all the groups. I had the discussion. And I'm happy that I know we had a challenge when it came to starting the discussion. Don't worry. We are going to discuss the point that you have presented. And I hope you have learned something, how to use, as we take you through this session on how to use learn through the use of technology. This is what we are supposed to do when you go back to your school. Of course, you also undertake what we call the remote learning. So I know those challenges you're experiencing are the same challenge you are going to experience with your teacher. So I hope you're learning something as we go around. Now we are going to come to plenary, whereby we are going to make our presentation on what we have discussed. And we are going to begin with group 1 because I want to see that order of things, of how things are done when it comes to procurement and how risk are omitted. So thank you very much. I want us now to begin our plenary, and we are going to time our plenary because we have 30 minutes and we have 4 groups. So every plenary, I'm going to give you a maximum of 5 minutes. 8 minutes. And as we agreed, we are going to begin with group 1. And make the secretary group 1 make sure that you trace your 5 minutes well. You lace up your hand so that we can welcome you. Secretary group 1. Or you can just start giving us your point. Who was secretary group 1? Daniel, go on. And mute. Daniel Jenga Kareithi, you had this up. I hope you are secretary group 1. Unmute.
Yes, I'm muted.
Go on.
We go for time.
Daniel, you are not in the book. Daniel, go on.
Okay. In group 1, we identified the activities.
Mm-hmm.
The first activity is about you identify the problem. So you have been identified the problem. The first
identifying
thing is that you sensitize the stakeholders, the BOM, the parents, everybody.
You're talking about identifying the problem or the need, then you sensitize the stakeholders, the BOM, the parent, and
everybody that will be will be taking part in the project.
Oh, you are sensitized everybody who will be taking part in the project.
Yes.
Point number 2.
Then you make a disclosure. These are all the activities that will be taking place. Maybe disclosure here would mean the amount of the project.
Okay.
After that, then you can agree on the mode of implementing the project, either contract or labor.
Mode of implementing the project, either the contract or labor.
Then amongst the stakeholders, we will make disclosures. I mean, we will declare conflict of interest, especially when it comes to if it is contract-based.
We declare conflict of interest. We will declare conflict of interest.
Yes, when advertising such that you do not have any member or committees being involved and has an interest.
Declare a conflict of interest.
After that, we'll make an advertisement. We agree that we are going the contract way, then we'll have to make that interested leaders can apply.
You make an advertisement. Is it an activity? Is it an activity to be undertaken by the school in preparation for the move?
I'm talking now like the KPL project, the classes that will be made by constructed in our schools. We are expected to advertise to be implemented through a contract or contract.
You are talking about the advertisement.
Yes, we advertise the project.
Okay, go on.
Then we'll have various committees, ad hoc committees, like the School Improvement Committee, the SIC.
Then we are talking of procurement committees.
Yes.
Procurement committees. Okay.
Not procurement committees, but we have the School Improvement Committees.
Oh, school improvement committee. Yeah.
That will oversee the implementation of the project.
To ensure that the school improvement committee is in place to oversee the implementation of the project.
Yes.
After
the expiry of the advertisement project, that will be 7 days, then you have a committee for opening the tenders received.
Now, and your time is almost up, and because some of the reason why I was asking this, I wanted activities prior to the project.
That is what exactly I'm trying to say. There are challenges on communication that we are breaking. There is some break, some communication break. That is why we are taking more time.
Okay. Why that? Because of time is up. We have so far you have given me 6 points. You are saying that then you committed after the expiry of 7 days you are committed. That is what you're wrong.
Yes, we advertise, we open the tenders, we evaluate the tenders, and then we award the tender before now the project can start.
Okay. So that was your input to Group 1?
Yes, that was our input.
Thank you very much, Group 1. And thank you, Daniel, for accepting the responsibility of being a secretary to Group 1 and for that deliberation. So, in essence, Group 1, you are supposed to discuss activity to be undertaken by the school leader in preparation of during the project implementation. We call the pre. There is what we call the implementation period, and there is post. And that is why I was keen when Daniel was presenting, because I didn't want Daniel to infringe on the responses I'm expecting in other stage. In that group, we are supposed to deal with the pre. What happened before the project is implemented? And we are talking of planning stage. Planning stage. And you have given us all those steps that are supposed to be followed. But there is a stage at the beginning whereby you are supposed to put everything in place even before we think of advertising, because advertising will come after the projects have been approved. And remember, there is School Infrastructure Committee, SIC, which is very important when it comes to project management. I didn't hear that name anywhere. We talked about School Improvement Committee. But in Julian School, we're supposed to have a school infrastructure committee that will deal with the procurement of projects in the school, recommending the serious if you can lead the most in the elements. It's very key. So those are some of the activities that you're supposed to undertake at the planning stage, whereby you talk of identifying the needs. That is okay, yes. But already the need has been identified that you're building the process and the integration. But there is initial stages that you're supposed to do to ensure that all the stakeholders are brought into the on board So that during the project, we will be actively involved. Thank you very much, Daniel. Now we go to group number 2. Group number 2, now I want to see the source of the concept number 1. Secretary group 2.
So in our group, we discussed the following. But before we had discussed much, time elapsed. But these were the procedures to be followed in the procurement. These were the procurement procedures. Number 1, we must have needs identification. We go through the needs. Yes.
Okay.
Then from there, we have advertising and evaluating tenders for those who will come to carry out the construction. Then we have receiving of bids. Then evaluating tenders. After evaluating all the tenders, you award the notification. Then after awarding the notification, we have contract signing. The contractor that will have taken the position will be called and signed. Then from there, we will have contract management. So you oversee while the work is being carried out. Those are the 7 steps: needs identification, advertising and evaluating tenders, receiving of bids, evaluating tenders, award notification.
You are talking of receiving of bids?
Yes.
Then immediately after we receive the bid, we evaluate.
We have evaluating of tenders.
You do not open them.
Yeah?
You evaluate before you open them. Go on.
So after...
Go on.
Yes, then we said we have award notification.
Then there is award notification.
Then contract signing, and lastly we have contract management.
After award there is contract signing or contract?
After award, yes, contract signing, and lastly we have contract management.
After contract management, what is the last step in procurement? When do you see like the procurement has come to an end?
I have poor network.
Can you hear me? Because I want to ask you after you are through, which is the last step in, but you are correct. You have reached, there is one step to take. We have done the contract management and we have constructed the classroom. The classroom and in school, we have done the handover, handed over the document. Then, this is the last step. Last time you have bought a laptop in your school and it has been brought through contract management. This is the last step. Where is going? Okay, thank you very much. There is the last step I was looking from that group, but we are going to see that step. Because procurement always comes to an end with the disposal of it. Thank you very much, Group 2, for those presentations. Because we're going to review those presentations later, all of them later. And we go to Group 3. Group 3, you are supposed to identify and learn the issues. Now,
yes.
And I want you to speak yourself during this project of classroom. What are some of our learning issues?
On our side, as Group 3, our question was identify the possible unethical practices that can likely occur while undertaking the project.
Yes.
And we were able to come up with the following points. One, not following the due process, that is while advertising maybe, for example, the tenders.
Failing to follow the due process. Move on.
Yes. Point number 2 is failure to submit legal documents to the respective offices. Maybe we're talking about the offices like the NEMA office, the Public Works, the Minister of Health. Pardon?
Are you supposed to submit or to acquire at a school?
Oh, to acquire, sorry.
Yes. You acquire from them. Okay.
Yes.
Go on.
Number 3, we have conflict of interests maybe from the members. Some of the members may be interested in the project. Maybe they have their companies, and therefore they may be interested, and so it may result in conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest among the members. And you are talking about members of who? Who are those members?
The project committee, the infrastructure committee. And also who are supposed to be member of junior school committee. Yes.
It is good to specify the members. So that when we're answering the question, we know the answer.
Yes. Number 4, we may have, or another unethical practice is that it can result, or we can have what's called false documents. There may be false documentation while presenting maybe the reports. This may be in the form. Yes.
False document. What you are calling the fraud.
False documents. Yeah, it can be fraud. Yeah, it falls under fraud. And this may be. False documents.
Like what? Give us an example.
Like the receipts, maybe forged signatures. And even the tender documents, maybe there was no advertising of tenders, maybe it can be falsified.
But like if I'm a contractor, if I bring a false certificate from National Construction Authority, that is a condition if you're a contractor. If I forge the certificate, that is will it fall under this category?
I think it can fall under the same category.
I want the members to understand. When you talk about false document, you are talking of now you are a contractor. If you bring anything that is not valid, like a national, you should have a certificate for national construction. If you bring a false document, it must fall under the document. Thank you. Go on.
Point number 5 is that substandard materials purchased or used. The materials maybe which are purchased may be substandard, and that may result in substandard work.
Substandard material, do you end up paying them as a school?
I'm thinking about like cement, or even when their construction is on. We have some ratios like for cement, sand, and all that. They can use the ratios, and it can result in substandard work. And another point is collusion between the contractor. Collusion between the contractor and the contractor and the project management committee. They can collude in such that the money or the payments may be mismanaged in the process, and therefore it would not be good for the implementation of the project.
Meaning the committee will not include that in their report.
I'm talking about maybe the payment. They can there would be substandard work, but the payment part of it. I'm talking about the payment part of it.
Okay.
Labor, in terms of labor.
Okay. Is there any other?
Yes.
Are you through, or you still have more points?
We still have misuse of funds. It's another point.
Because your time is running out. Misuse of fund as another issue.
Yeah, and then finally, exaggeration of building item prices. I think this was the same with the one I've mentioned. Yeah, thank you so much.
Exaggeration. You bring a post.
Yes.
Thank you very much, that group, for that wonderful work. I can see that I was in my group and that discussion. Thank you very much, Secretary.
You're welcome.
And now,
you're welcome.
Last but not least, group number 2, we are dealing with this. Your mic is on.
Yes. I'm the secretary to group 4. And group 4, our task was to discuss the risks you are likely to encounter as we implement NESEP 2 2023-2027.
Go on.
So point number 1 that we noted in group 4, we have time limitation. This is a very it is a time-bound project that is expected to be completed by the time the JS learners get to grade 9. So we are likely to have challenges when it comes to completing these projects on time.
Okay.
The other point that we saw was lack of completion due to limited resources.
Limited resources, but remember there is a budget. We will find out why the resources may end up being limited. Go on.
Yes. Then point number 3, we also noted that the construction is being done while the school is in session. And in the process, we are likely to have accidents in the school for the students and the construction workers if safety measures are not put in place.
Good.
Number 2, we are also likely to have noise pollution.
Move on. Noise pollution.
We also noted there is a likelihood of drugs infiltration by workers. Yes.
Oh, those workers who are coming to do the construction.
Yes. We also noted that we are likely to stretch the already limited resources in the schools.
But we assume the government will fund this project. That is my assumption. But likely to fund this.
We are already doing it in our schools. Most of us in the group 4, we are in the first Kahoot. But you see these workers, we've started. Okay. We are doing it. But we have noted that, we are also likely to, another risk is stalled projects due to wrong contractors.
Oh, the project becomes stalled.
Yes.
Okay.
These contractors might bring wonderful documents and they go through the procurement process, but at the end of it all, they
abandon the project.
They abandon the project.
Okay.
Another risk that we have identified is theft of resources.
By workers.
Due to so many people coming into the school during the construction, the resources, both the already existing or whatever is being used, can be stolen.
Okay.
Yes. Those were the points that we came up with.
Thank you very much. All the group members, you can clap yourself. I know there is an option of clapping yourself. if you know how to use the Zoom, you can clap for yourself because you have given me very wonderful points. I don't want to I'm not talking of physical crap. I'm talking of facial crap. You can clap yourself on the Zoom. Yes, I can see Alice have clapped for the group. Those are the claps that I'm talking about. Thank you very much. And if I begin with, we are going to display all what you have talked about. But when it comes to risk, I wanted to hear the risk from the budget. Anytime you are taking a project, the risk revolve around the budget. And you have talked about the budget constraint because as a result of inflation, the budget may become inadequate. The other risk revolve around the time. You have talked about the timeline. So, sorry for that. I have lost power, but I'm going to continue. I hope you can hear from me. Do you confirm that you're still hearing from me?
Yes.
Yes.
Nicholas.
Yes.
I just want a confirmation from Henry. Henry, can you hear me for Ada Nicholas?
Yes. I can get
Henry.
you. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Henry Oro, can you hear from me?
Yes, I can hear from you.
Sorry, I have lost power a bit, but I'm going to continue with.
But not very clear. But not very clear.
I'm not very clear.
Yes.
Am I okay now?
Yes, you are okay.
Okay, thank you. Let me continue. I was talking about the last group we have talked about the risk. The risk revolve around the budget. Anytime you're having a project, and those people whose mic are on, kindly and manage your mic, allowed the risk, they revolve around the time, and they revolve around the scope, the size of your project. If we increase the size of the project from what the government have given you, the risk is the budget will not be enough. Also, the timeline will be stretched. And if you increase the timeline, the cost will go up because you are going to engage workers for a longer period of time. But you have gone further and given us so many other examples. And if you look at your screen, Madam Lispa have displayed in form of a padlet all what you have discussed. But there is one area, there is an interesting question in group 2, whereby you are supposed to talk about the procedure. And I wanted to put in line the procedure. When it comes to procurement, just to put things light, you start with the budget. Government will give you money, but you need to budget for both classrooms. The government will give you a block. But you need a budget. You need to plan for that, and both the budget and plan must be approved by the Board of Management. Then after that, you start the requisition, because the person who gave us the procedure was correct, but there were some steps that were missing. After approval, you start with the requisition. That is the time now you start. In normal practice, procurement starts with requisition. Then after requisition, the head of institution will advertise. Those are the procedure. Advertisement is made for the stones, for the cement, for mabati, for everything is advertised so that we have so that we undertake procurement as per the law. Then after advertisement, you receive the bid. That is the next step. You receive the bid from those, then the bid are collected from school. Then they are received by the school through the tender box. You know what we call the tender box that are placed in the strategic place in school. Then after receiving, you open them. And there is a committee known as, another committee known as Tender Opening Committee. After they open, they do their work. Due to time, I'm not going to go into detail because in your note, you are going to see the function of a Tender Opening Committee. After committee have done its work, the other committee that is supposed to be appointed by the head of institution is Evaluation Committee. That is why we are talking of evaluation. And that is why I was talking to the person who presented. He omitted the steps on opening. He went direct to evaluation. But you need to open, you evaluate. After evaluation, you notify. It is not the committee that awarded the tender, but they recommend to the head of institution who awarded the tender. And the next step is notifying the person who have won the tender. You notify the person who have won the tender. And after notification, there is a period you are supposed to wait for 14 days before you sign the contract. It is known as the period for administrative review. You wait for 14 days before signing. After you have notified the winner and the losers, then you wait for 14 days. If 14 days elapse without any appeal, you sign the contract. That is, you sign the contract. After signing the contract, you manage now the contract. The management include buying, construction, Minister of Public Works will come and inspect the project. And there is a step that I was looking. Procurement will always end with a disposal. The classroom may not be disposed in 10, 20 or 30 years to come, but anything you buy in your school, it will either expire, like a laptop, it will become obsolete, you need to dispose it. So the last step is a disposal. That is a question I wanted to put in order so that it is clear. But the other question, you are able to tease out the main point, including question in unethical issues, because I can see them in the padlet, but there is something I was looking out. One of the main unethical issues that may happen during this project is when the contractor bring a false invoice. Another unethical issue is whereby the school will pay undelivered services or goods. That is unethical. We are talking of false invoice is unethical, whereby the supplier or the contractor will bring a false. That is something that was not bought, or the school should not even pay services or product that was not delivered. Another thing, the school should not skew the procurement to meet the requirement of a certain person. It is unethical. When you are preparing the document, never skew the procurement to meet the qualification of one supplier, the one that you want to supply the school. The other one is fraud. It is unethical to engage in fraud activity. And if it is something to do with the disposal, never dispose anything prematurely. If you dispose anything prematurely, it is unethical. And finally, another unethical, if you are using a electronic procurement, if you manipulate electronic procedure so that you can undertake procurement, it is also unethical. So those are some of the points that I wanted us to put clear from what you have given. Question about breakout room number 2 and group breakout number 3, those questions are very pertinent. You need to take care of that, and also the risk. And also the risk that I did not hear is ready disbursement of fund by the government. The government have committed, but what if the money is not delivered in time? It will affect the timeline. Thank you very much for that. And Madam Joyce, are you still in? We are going to go to our extended activity. To our extended activity that we are supposed to undertake. I want us to now to look at the extended activity that you are supposed to undertake during this presentation. Just a minute. Presentation. There is an extended activity I want us to. Thank you, Rispa. So that is the move to the extended. That is the review of extended activity that you are supposed to undertake. You are supposed to identify strategies which school leaders can implement to effectively allocate resources in alignment with the school goals and priority, ensuring optimal utilization and improved education outcome. in this extended activity, we are talking of planning. If those people who are able to understand this activity, when you identify the strategy, you are coming up with something like a plan that to ensure that the resources are allocated effectively for optimum utilization. Because if you want to use the resources optimally, it has to start with the plan. If you fail to plan, either you will not be able to absorb the money given by the government, or you are going to have to plan for things that you don't have money. Write down the strategy, take a picture, and then upload the picture as an artifact in the section provided at Unit 4. So make sure that we are able to get that strategy. And I'm giving you a hint. Here you are supposed to come up with a plan. And that plan may even, when we talk about planning effective resource management, you start with a budget. If you don't have a budget, you will not be able to utilize your resources optimally. So what are those strategies? Budget is one of them. Which other strategies can you use? That is what we're expecting to give us as an artifact at the end of Unit 4. And at that point, I would like to I'm sorry. Put the last slide. At that point, I would like to stop there. And I say thank you for listening and participating in this activity, because there is something I have learned that during the self-paced learning, you have done some kind of learning. I have gotten that from the presentation that you have made. And I wish that what we have taught you at the effective resource management, you are going to implement them in your school. There is a lot we have learned that we could not have been able to cover them within 2 hours. Otherwise, thank you very much for participating. And I wish you all the best as we continue with the presentation. So we are going to meet at 11:30. So you have a 30-minute break. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Mko na maswali? Ama maswali itakuja at the end of the session. I'm talking or referring to a question in regard to this unit. Effective resource management. Anything that would like us to clarify concerning especially the question that we have discussed? Okay, thank you very much. Let us meet at 11:30.
Focus on digital literacy for learning. So here, the key word here that as we discuss this is for learning. Because if you look at ESL, we are focusing on school leadership for effective teaching, and so you as a head, as a leader of that particular school, how effective are you when it comes to digital literacy? And if you're effective enough in that school, how effective are your teachers? Because if you are the teacher number one, you are the driver of the whole school. So if it finds that, like Martin was talking about having a feature phone, Mulika Mwizi. How many of us have got Mulika Mwizi? Katalia too? Two, eh? You still have them. How many of us, you can find the city has said information on the wall, alafu nasema siku nimefungua data. Oh, ama moto ilikuwa imeisha. And no, you're the CEO of that. Na hauna nini? Hauna data. You know, I put a very different question. Supposing you are in a vehicle where in Nairobi, or even forget to put fuel in the vehicle. Na mafuta imeisha na ni saa 9 ya usiku. Utasema nini? Can happen, isn't it? Now, if you are the head of school, hauna data, hauna view, hauna moto kwa simu.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we are giving you this, it's because we want you to go and help your teachers to interpret. Up to now, we are having so many teachers who have challenges in the interpretation of curriculum designs. And as we say it, if they are not able to interpret the curriculum designs, they will have the wrong schemes of work. They will have the wrong lesson plans. They will have the wrong lesson notes. You know, everything will just be a mess, isn't it? So the reason why we want you to know all these things is because we want you to go and facilitate those teachers as they implement the curriculum. I know even there are some of you here who are also teachers. You have some learning areas that you are teaching, isn't it? So that is all what you want you to go through. Then from there, we'll take you through the professional documents. In CBC, how many professional documents are we looking at? Some of those approaches that we have been told to adopt are learner-centered. We are getting away from a teacher-centered lesson to a learner-centered lesson.
Ile kitu yenye nafanya tunaongea mambo mingi ni CBC implementation. Hizo tunapiga yote hii suite tunaitisha hii. Hiyo notebook is focusing on how we can implement the competence-based curriculum. Then we went further and said there's another unit. Then you call unit what? 3. About chini. How to make this child walk? Either utamweka karibu na ukuta, asimamie kwa ukuta kwanza, si ndio? Akishazoea kusimama, unashika yeye mkono mnatembea. Anaona utamu wa kutembea. Na si walk support. Through putting the hand or even holding something good na amesimama, unapokuja uchukue, si ndio? They moves toward that direction. So this child do well. Now, how do you support this child to be able to walk? Support programs around that particular child. That is basically what. Now, you have area. It seems we have a problem because the other things are just enablers. What you're doing from just enablers to make us be effective. Ina hama kidogo. Hello? So we want to appreciate that, but I'm still just worried. This question when we came here first. Why do you think you came here when you were invited? Because when you go back, they'll ask you, ulienda kufanya? What was it? It's a bad question. It's a bad one, but why do you were invited? Why do you think you were invited and not your neighbor? Kuna wale wanatamani ungekuwa ni hao ndio wamekuja. Sasa ile mlienda kwa mkutano jana, niambia sisi tuko na ingine huko. And some of you also gave leakage M vitamin, si ndio? Sasa huko M vitamin ni mzuri bwana. Unajua bila pesa wewe si mtu sasa zingine. So when you are empowered, it's better. So what made you come? Was it that M vitamin? That's just an Ebola, isn't it? What made us come? Am I talking to you? Niongeke kusi. Ama Kijaluo, ama Kilui. My brother, what brought you? Yes? Being the best to implement CBC. Do you have any leader who is not the best? If you were moved in Nyamira, if you ask every head teacher in a school, will they tell you whether they're the best or the worst? Will they say I'm the worst head teacher? No, I'm the best. Even if the school is last, I'm the best what?
Training is important, and especially to us school leaders, because we have to lead by example. So in CBC implementation, it is us to lead the other teachers. So we need to get the right knowledge, we need to get the right skills. Even the attitude we had before needs to be changed so that we are able now to impart the right knowledge and skills to the teachers. When we acquire this knowledge also, it will help us to know what the approaches we are going to use to ensure that now the program succeeds, because it has to succeed. So we need to assist the teachers. We also need to assist the parents, because it is us they rely on. In most cases, they tell us it is you to tell us, it is you to guide us on what we are supposed to do as parents. So we need to get the right knowledge, skills, and also change of attitude.
I feel very strongly that these trainings, for example, the one we have with you, the increase program, is making us be very innovative. It is going to address my weaknesses. Really passionate on the ICT aspect, because we have realized Kenya is on the 21st century skills, and our learners need also to have these skills.
So we want to focus on digital literacy for learning. So here, the key word here that as we discuss this is for learning. Because if you look at ESL, we are focusing on school leadership for effective teaching, and so you as a head, as a leader of that particular school, how effective are you when it comes to digital literacy? And if you're effective enough in that school, how effective are your teachers? Because if you're the teacher number one, you're the driver of the whole school. So if it finds that, like Martin was talking about having a feature phone, Mulika Mwizi. How many of us have got Mulika Mwizi? Katalia too? Two, eh? You still have them. How many of us, you can find the city has said information on the wall, alafu nasema siku nimefungua data. Oh, ama moto ilikuwa imeisha. And you know, you're the CEO of that. Na hauna nini? Hauna data. You know, I put a very different question. Supposing you are in a vehicle where in Nairobi, or even forgets to put fuel in the vehicle. Na mafuta imeisha na ni saa 9 ya usiku. Utasema nini? Can happen, isn't it? Now, if you are the head of school, hauna data, hauna view, hauna moto kwa simu.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we are giving you this, it's because we want you to go and help your teachers to interpret. Up to now, we are having so many teachers who have challenges in the interpretation of curriculum designs. And as we say it, if they are not able to interpret the curriculum designs, they will have the wrong schemes of work. They will have the wrong lesson plans. They will have the wrong lesson notes. You know, everything will just be a mess, isn't it? So the reason why we want you to know all these things is because we want you to go and facilitate those teachers as they implement the curriculum. I know even there are some of you here who are also teachers. You have some learning areas that you are teaching, isn't it? So that is all what you want you to go through. Then from there, we'll take you through the professional documents. In CBC, how many professional documents are we looking at? Some of those approaches that we have been told to adopt are learner-centered. We are getting away from a teacher-centered lesson to a learner-centered lesson.
Ile kitu yenye nafanya tunaongea mambo mingi ni CBC implementation. Hizo tunapika yote hii suite tunaitisha hiyo notebook is focusing on how we can implement the competence-based curriculum. Then we went further and said there's another unit, then you call unit what? 3. About how to make this child walk. Either utamweka karibu na ukuta, asimamie kwa ukuta kwanza, si ndio? Akishazoea kusimama, unashika yeye mkono mnatembea. Anaona utamu wa kutembea. Na si uoga support. Through putting the hand or even holding something good na amesimama, unapokuja uchukue, si ndio? They moves toward that direction. So this child do well. Now, how do we support this child to be able to walk? Put programs around that particular child. That is basically what. Now, we have area. It seems we have a problem because the other things are just enablers. What you are doing from now, just enablers to make us be effective. In a hamahama dog. Hello? So we want to appreciate that, but I'm still just worried at this question when we came here first. Why do you think you came here when you were invited? Because when you go back, they'll ask you, ulienda kufanya? What was it? It's a bad question. It's a bad one, but why do you invite? Why do you think you are invited and not your neighbor? Kuna wale wanatamani ungekuwa ni hao ndio wamekuja. Na ile mlienda kwa mkutano jana, kaambia sisi tuko na ingine huko. And some of you also gave leakage M vitamin, si ndio? Nasema huko M vitamin ni mzuri bwana. Unajua bila pesa wewe si mtu sasa zingine. So when you are empowered, it's better. So what made you come? Was it that M vitamin? That's just an Ebola, isn't it? What made us come? Am I talking to you? Niongeke gusi. Ama Kijaluo, ama Kiluya. My brother, what brought you here? Yes? Being the best to implement CBC. Do you have any leader who is not the best? If we were moved in Nyamira, if you ask every head teacher in a school, will they tell you whether they're the best or the worst? Will they say I'm the worst head teacher? No, I'm the best. Even if the school is last, I'm the best what?
People have not been out to go and take because they believe they'll be separated from family or something like that. So they are shying away from taking leadership roles.
As you see, most of the managers were advanced in age. So we are trying to catch up with the technology, and we have really tried. So when it comes to learning also, there are applications that we are going to use. There is a way we are going to navigate now to get to our modules.
The school leaders, especially some of them, they are not, or they don't have the skills in ICT, especially when we see they go out, they go to cyber cafe where most of the documents or most of the secret documents are placed in cybers, which is not good. But I think after this training, the teachers will be more equipped with skills and techniques on how to handle ICT, as most of them, they are not computer compliance.
Training is important, and especially to us school leaders, because we have to lead by example. So in CBC implementation, it is us to lead the other teachers. So we need to get the right knowledge, we need to get the right skills. Even the attitude we had before needs to be changed so that we are able now to impart the right knowledge and skills to the teachers. When we acquire this knowledge also, it will help us to know what the approaches we are going to use to ensure that now the program succeeds, because it has to succeed. So we need to assist the teachers. We also need to assist the parents, because it is us they rely on. In most cases, they tell us it is you to tell us, it is you to guide us on what we are supposed to do as parents. So we need to get the right knowledge, skills, and also change of attitude.
I feel very strongly that these trainings, for example, the one we have with you, the increase program, is making us be very innovative. It is going to address my weaknesses. Really passionate on the ICT aspect, because we have realized Kenya is on the 21st century skills, and our learners need also to have these skills.
Yes, good morning.
Mko sawa?
Yeah.
So we can...
Kosawa.
Hey.
Kosawa.
Good. I want to start off. We are all there. How many are we?
25.
So we are in class now and we are looking at Unit 5. That was on learners' staff welfare. Like a microphone, I can get a lot of echo. Okay. So in your chat, can you tell me what you got from this learner staff welfare and some of the best practices? I want you to go to your chat. Just tell me, after you went through this unit, what did you come out with? Is there something that you picked that you're able to implement in your school as far as the learner staff welfare is concerned? Just tell me. Put in the chat, and Nicole will be able to help me pick those. Just put in the chat your experience with this unit as a school leader. And out of all those areas that we took you through, which one do you think you're able to pick and run with it? Tuanze, let's use the chat. Mwanze kuandika kwa chat. Uanze kusoma as they get. Marco, are you in class? Maybe I'm talking to myself. I'm Jarudi. So for those of us who are coming in, we are reviewing Unit 5, and I'm asking a simple question that out of whatever we took you through in this unit, what did you run with? Yeah. The best practice.
Okay, James Mwai says, I have started feeding program to support learners and teachers' welfare. Alice is saying, take care of the children's emotional needs.
Wow. Let's move on.
Okay, Henry.
About 5 more responses.
Henry says, clubs and societies. I wish you can expound more on what you've done with clubs and societies. Philip says, provision of mentorship program. Keep them coming. James Moy says, guidance and counseling for both teachers and learners also in practice. Nice.
One more.
Henry has added something and she's saying, I have given out resources needed in clubs and societies. That is very good. Alice has also added something and she's saying, catering for the spiritual needs through PPG.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for those responses. At least you picked something from this unit. And we want to go straight. We still use the same model like what we did with the Unit 4, that we are going to have plenary discussions in your breakaway rooms. After that, then we will bring you back to the plenary room for us to be able now to do the presentation of what you have discussed. So, and then after that, lastly, we are going to look at the extended learning activity that you are given. Those were the areas that you covered in this unit: the psychosocial support for learners, the school health and safety, and the staff management. And you have already given me some of the responses concerning these areas that you covered and some of the best practices that you have been able to carry out in your schools. So we'll put you in 4 groups, like what I'm talking to myself. So did you hear me did you lose me at some point? So
Yes.
So we are saying we still use the same model like what you did in Unit 4. You'll have the breakaway rooms and you'll have 4 activities for every group. And as you go there, you appoint a chair who is going to moderate the discussion. And then you'll also have a secretary who's going to pick your points. So that when you come back to the plenary, then you can be able to give us the points that you have for each and every question. So Nicole, 4 groups.